Hello everybody, welcome to our lovely Fleurs. Now this is the education side of our lovely Fleurs and we are now going to make our chrysanthemum. This is from our fabulous new autumnal collection and it really is beautiful. Can you see all this colour? Isn't it gorgeous? And behind me, and if I move that way, just over my shoulder here, we've got a little friend sat watching. Now, this could also be for our Halloween makes, because why wouldn't it be? The colours are fabulous. And then a little bit further on, oh, same way, camera, got a little pumpkin. So again, lots and lots for you to be able to work with this one. Autumn is my favourite time of year. I just love walking with my dogs, playing in the leaves, but it's the colours. Now, for the chrysanthemum, what we're going to need is wire. We're going to need a 2 centimetre polystyrene ball. I've got my wire cutters ready and raring to go. And I've got all my pieces already cut out, okay? So first of all, before we do anything, is we need to create the centre of the flower. So we're starting right down at the beginning. I'm cutting myself a piece of wire, 9 or 10 centimetres. And I'll put that to one side. Now, I always look after my wires because they are a consumable, but I don't waste them. I always make sure that I've just got enough to actually make my flower and then to be able to wrap it or fasten it to something. I wouldn't make a flower on a full wire like that because that's just so, I wouldn't waste it. Okay, so that are our wires. The crepe paper that we're using, I've got my muted collection, which is just glorious. You can see some of the colourways that are around me. It is beautiful. Now, when you're actually cutting this, let me bring in the dies. These are the ones we're going to be using, and they're nested, which makes it so easy to cut the whole of one flower in one go if you wanted to. So if I just lift up this one is actually swifted together. And we've got 2, 4, 6, 7. So we're going to need 7 petals. And then there's 7 of the medium and 7 of the small. What I actually do is lay them all out on my A4 plate in one go. And you have to orientate them. Orientate? Okay, I think I'm going to go with that word. Like this on our crepe. So there's two ways to the crepe paper. We've got the stretch and we've got the way that it doesn't stretch. And with the working with the grain vertically, sorry, that's the stretch, okay? So that's how we need to lay the dies on. So it works vertically with that grain. So as long as you cut your paper, your crepe, or fold it, you can cut 2 or 3 out in one go. That's the way you would lay it. So obviously that was just the green that I've shown you there, but there's lots of different colours. My favourite for the chrysanthemum is using this beautiful burgundy. Together with that, you do have your chrysanthemum leaf, which is this one, which again, you can cut from your crepe paper, but this I would probably cut from a cardstock and then ink it. And then this here are the centres. So we've got a large, a medium and a small. And again, these have been swifted together. So it makes it so easy to then batch make. So if you're making multiples, you just keep going and going and going. So I've already gone ahead and cut out all of my pieces, including my little pieces that are my frill. And this is what we're going to look at making. Now the edge on here, I've just used a little bit of bleach to actually bleach out this. Now it's just normal standard bleach. Please, please, please be careful when you're using it. If you do use this technique at home, make sure it's in a well ventilated area and you put the lid back on. I just decant it out into a little saucer or a little, you know, those little dishes, those pudding dishes that we've got. Put a tiny little spot in there, dip my paintbrush in, and I literally just touch the brush just like so to the edge like that. And it just allow the crepe paper to take the bleach on and it will stop where it wants to stop. You must allow that to dry thoroughly though before you start handling it and making it, okay? So that is how we do this technique, but that is in the whole is the chrysanthemum. But this one I'm going to ink. I'm going to do it a little bit different. So I'm going to put that to one side. first of all, starting point, I'm going to glue the ball, my polystyrene ball, to my wire. Now, you would use hot glue, but we're just for speed purposes. Hold my polystyrene ball to the desk and I push that wire until it stops, okay? So I'm happy with that, where that is. Now I've got myself a piece of crepe paper and I've stretched this to its fullest. So this crepe paper that we're using has got 180% stretch, which is just beautiful to work with. And it's a medium to heavyweight paper as well. So when you're cutting it to make your flowers, it gives you a beautiful flower. It holds its shape, etc. Do you know what I mean? When you're actually working with it. So now I'm going to wrap my paper around there. So I'm going to bring in those edges and I'm going to continue to wrap. So I'm bringing it all down to the wire and again, pulling that paper, wrapping it around. And then when we get to this point, I gather all the paper together and I just pinch it and twist. So as I'm pinching and twisting, but I'm not holding on to it, I'm letting go. So I'm like pinching and releasing and just turning that around. So it creates me this lovely little lollipop shape, okay? So now, because that's now all wrapped, all your other leaves and your petals are going to actually go on there beautifully and stick, okay? Now again, your preference for how you want to build your flowers, whether you want to use hot glue or wet glue. If you're using wet glue, please allow the time for it to dry. And when you're using hot glue, just be aware that it is hot and keep your fingers out the way, because I know hot glue, they can be quite nasty, it burns. So just be aware of that and be careful. So that's my centre. Now we want to start with the extra pieces. So I'm going to bring in, here we have these lovely little discs. Now these discs have all got frills on them. They're all edged. I'm going to bring in my little shaping mat, pop them on here. Now I've cut everything out beforehand, okay, and then I'm going to take my ball tool and just shape like that. And I think on some of these I've got a couple of layers. I have. Oops. Like so. So you can cut out more than one layer. It's easier to separate them when you actually use the ball tool because it like separates in the middle. There we go. That's it. Like so. Then again, whoops. And I'm actually trying to separate them going with the grain, because these are circular. I'm pulling them apart and the grain is that way, okay? And then the largest one, like so. Just trying to, there we go. And then we've got a few of these to work with. And what we're going to create is quite something, a bit of a frill. You see in the middle? Okay. And you can ink these if you want to, but I'm going to glue it first and then ink afterwards. So using my wet glue, put a little bit down here, and I've spread it out a little bit, so I've made it a bit thinner. And I'm going to take one of the centres, stick it in the middle, then that one, and stick that one in the middle, and then again. And I'm not picking up very much glue at all, but it's important to work with singular layers. And you can make these as fluffy or as not so fluffy as you like. And then the final two larger ones, and then I'm going to sit them. Now I've made that quite a fluffy little group all together, pop that to one side to allow that to dry properly. Now we can do some inking. Now for the petals, you need between 7 and 8, depending on how close you put yours together. So 7 is a good number, and you should get all the way around the 2 centimetre ball. And like I say, for this one, I'm just going to ink it. Now, don't ever be afraid of using black ink, okay? It always makes a really strong, especially on these stronger colours. But this one, I've gone with a lovely twilight blue. So it's a really dark, intense blue. And I'm just going to ink on each one of these, okay? And again, no rhyme or reason, both sides, just to make sure that if you do actually, when you've got your arrangement made, if you can see it from underneath, it just gives it, finishes it off with a really nice professional look that you've got ink on both edges. Okay, so flip that over, make sure I've done both sides. Okay, I'm happy, there those. Now, a quick way of doing this, or to speed it up a little bit, is to put a few out in one go, hold them all down, and ink them all in one go, and then flip them over. So that's just a little tip when you're batch making. So that's like that. On just all the edges, and when this comes together, you'll really see the difference that it makes by using, like I say, don't ever be afraid of using a dark or a black ink. I mean, this one, like I say, I'm using a beautiful twilight, so it's like a midnight blue, but it's working fabulous with this lovely burgundy colour. One of my favourite colourways, this one. So now lay these out again. Flip them all over. You see how quick it comes together once you've actually done the cutting. So if you were doing batch ones, it would be so easy just to cut them all out and have them ready like I have in my little plastic wallets. And things like that, those storage wallets, you're going to find again on highlightcrafts.com. So if you're in the looking for wallets and things, that's where we're going to get all of this, and they are fabulous. I've got some beautiful storage on there at the moment. So they're all inked. That was super quick and easy. Shaping is just as easy, because what I tend to do is I have a little pile in my hand like so, bring them all together, and then just curl them in one go like that. Okay, that's that one done. And then I pile them all on top of one another again and curl those. And the same thing again. Curl them all in one go. And the crepe paper does actually take quite a lot of abuse, really. You know, it will withstand you giving, you know, tugging and pulling on it. And then this is now dry, and I'm now going to stick that on the top of our ball like so. Okay, and then while I'm holding it still, I'm just going to go round, just gently fluff all those edges. So I'm quite happy with that. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to pop out a little bit more of our wet glue, and this is so I can just quickly dip in. So I take the edge of the petal, it's curved this way, dip into the glue, take off some of the excess, and then glue it on to the green ball, roughly about halfway. So then my next one, making sure it's curving towards me, I'm putting the glue on the piece that I haven't inked. And then that's the next one in place. And just lay them at the side of each other and make your way around. like so. The last one in there. So that is the basis and start of the flower. Okay, if I move it there, you can see. So now, with the next layer, we're going to work within the gaps. Now, ideally, I would leave this a few minutes to actually set. Okay, so I would actually prefer to pop a little bit more glue on there because I missed that for some reason. So I'd allow that to set a little bit, but that is just a lovely little flower all on its own. So to then move on from that one, we're going to go up in size with the petals, but there's nothing stopping you now by just going round with these same ones again and going round again, okay? So now we've moved up a size and we're going to work the same way. So those petals are curled towards me. Pick up a little bit of wet glue, and this time we're moving a bit further down, but we're going in the middle. Yeah. So I pick the next one up, and in that gap, so we're now further down on the little green ball, and in that gap again, the next one. And then I use my tweezers to help it sit correctly, like that. And each one, so that's why I try and keep my petals in this little pile that I've got going on, because it makes it a lot easier when you're batch making. Just to then pick up the next petal and pop that in place again. In this gap. And then I think I've done one too many, yeah. Got 7 petals, I've done 8, but that doesn't matter. So now if I go like this, move that to one side, look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Now the colour on that is incredible. So what you could now do, just a little bit of something extra, is just touch bleach, just tip on each tip, and it will take it in, and where you've got this colour, it will pull the colour in and also bleach out the edge. So there's lots of fabulous techniques that we can show you how to work with this. And now my next little pile of petals, I think I might need a little bit more wet glue, like so. Again, I'm going to use my tweezers, holding it near the base of the petal, picking up some glue, and where I'm going to work in that gap again, but now we're working right to the base of the ball, okay, like so. Pick up another one, I'm holding it near the base, so it's a bit easier to actually add the glue on. You can see how far I'm putting the glue. It's not all the way, it's just a little part at the bottom. And then add that there. And then I just press it on with my finger. And then again, add that one in like so. Press that in. And it's so lovely when you see the flower, when you know this is your last row of petals, and it just all of a sudden comes to life. So the cutting, the inking, the shaping, it's this part that you see, you know, the wow, when you actually turn it over, because at the moment I'm working from behind. And working this way allows me to see exactly where these overlaps need to be. And then my last petal going on, like so. And then as I'm holding that, I'm just going to hold where I've got the paper, and I'm just going to go around and gently press to make sure that I've got a nice seal where the glue is. When I turn that over, look at that. Isn't that just divine? It is absolutely gorgeous. But we've got the little bit in the middle that we've fluffed. If we wanted to, we could then go in, maybe with another green, or even back in with our pen. And I'm just going to lightly just brush on some of these. Just nice and light, I'm not adding a lot of pressure, but just then where it touches the crepe paper, it will pick out that colour, like so. And that is the beautiful chrysanthemum. It is absolutely gorgeous. Aren't they just adorable? So again, all the other techniques that we've got going on as well, so you can make them look like this or like this. Aren't they stunning? They really are just gorgeous. Used a little bit different colourway on the other one for the centre, but they are wonderful. Now, thank you very much again for joining me for our little bit of education. That was the Fleurs chrysanthemum from the Autumnal collection. So I need to see your makes as well, so make sure you get on all of our pages and join in with everything that we're doing, and I shall see you all again very soon. Bye.
If you want to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button, subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notifications of all of our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video, or click here to see more videos like this one.